brains to make females behave just like males. Researchers genetically modified the insect so that a group of brain cells that control sexual behavior could be switched on by a pulse of light. The team was able to get female fruit flies to produce a courtship song, behavior usually only seen in males. Why? Because it's a computer program, it's software. Sometimes I get up early in the morning, in the winter, before dawn, and I sit there in the office working on the website and stuff, and then the sun starts to come up and the bird song starts. And I'm thinking, you know, is there like a conductor with a stick waiting for dawn? I'm going, cue! No! They just start singing. Just like Freaky started crowing at dawn when the testosterone came in. Because it's a body computer program, a software program. Then we talk about personalities and emotions. It's no accident, I would suggest, that so many, enormous numbers of near-death experiences tell the same story, that when they've left the body in that period, they don't feel emotion like they feel it here. They're not cold, but they don't feel that intensity of emotion that we feel. Why? Because that's a body consciousness software program. This is why psychiatrists and people, they say, some of them, they can break down human personalities into about 12 archetypes and combinations of them. You can't do that with infinite possibility, but you can do it with computer programs. We had that lady in Britain a few years ago who had been in institutions, in and out of them, with real manic, deep depression for 40 years. And her personality, people say, oh, she's a manic depressive. That's who she is. That's her. 40 years later, someone said, what happened about the time this started? Can you think? Did you do anything? And she said, the only thing I can think of is that I had something like 19 tooth fillings, mercury. It was pointed out that maybe that could be a connection. She had all the mercury teeth fillings taken out, went on a mercury detox. After 40 years, manic depression, gone. Because it was a computer level of operation that was manifesting it due to a chemical imbalance. We're not even our emotions most of the time. We are consciousness, and we've forgotten, and therefore these computer programs, these software programs take us over, and we think we're them. And so instead of driving the bus, we're sitting at the back thinking we can't drive it. The brain is two halves of the brain. There's the right brain and there's the left brain, and they have very, very different roles to play, especially in personality. And between them is this bridge called the corpus callosum, which bridges the information, again, information between the two. Now, this is another picture that Neil Haig did for me recently. Symbolically looking at what the right brain and the left brain do. The right brain is out there. It's creativity. It's inspiration. It's the maverick. It's the connection to all that is. It's the greater awareness. And the left brain is about structure. It sees things in parts, not as wholes. It wants things to be structured. It's about language, and it's about organization in a physical way. It's about being what we call, though often that's not what it is, rational thinking. And both sides of the brain are necessary. If you get a right brain person, we've all met them, they're fantastically creative, but they're out on another cloud. There's nothing going on down here. But you get a really imprisoned left brain person, they can't see the connections with anything. They're here. Boom, boom. I'll tell you a story. Sound like Max Bygraves. I'll tell you a story. Not many people reacted there. Who's Max Bygraves? Shows me bloody age. Yeah, he's just a bit older than me. Anyway, what happened was I was asked to speak at the Oxford University, right? Now, there are whole brain people at Oxford University. I'm not knocking it, but because of the nature of it, there's a hell of a lot of real left brain people at Oxford University. And I had this bizarre situation. When I do something like this to open-minded people, I just give it, there you go, there it is, make of it what you will. But when you're talking to a real left brain audience, even at the elite Oxford University, where they've passed all these exams to get there. He's clever. I'm sitting in the hotel room before I'm going to do it, and I'm thinking, how do I put this in baby steps so they'll get it? Why? Because the left brain is what I was talking to there, and it doesn't get this wider picture. I'll come more to that in a second. Now, I want to give you an idea of this left brain thing. If you go to my website, davidivke.pl, and you go into the What is Reality Research Archive, you can see this 20-minute clip of this lady. It was sent to me a few weeks ago, and it was like a eureka moment because of what she experienced. This is a lady called Jill Bolte Taylor, who's a neuroanatomist, brain scientist for short, and she had a stroke which shut down her left brain, and instead of conking out, she spent hours experiencing what was happening while it was going on. And she talked about the fact that she got up, she was having this stroke, she didn't realize it immediately, and she got onto the exercise machine. This is how she describes what happened. So I got up and I jumped onto my exercise machine, and I'm jamming away on this thing, and I'm realizing that my hands look like primitive claws grasping onto the bar. I thought, that's very peculiar. And I looked down at my body and I thought, whoa, I'm a weird-looking thing. And it was as though my consciousness had shifted away from my normal perception of reality, where I'm the person on the machine having the experience, to some esoteric space where I'm witnessing myself having this experience. I looked down at my arm and I realized that I can no longer define the boundaries of my body. I can't define where I begin and where I end because the atoms and the molecules of my arm blended with the atoms and molecules of the wall. And all I could detect was energy. And I'm asking myself, what's wrong with me? What's going on? And in that moment, my brain chatter, my left hemisphere brain chatter went totally silent. Just like someone took a remote control and pushed the mute button, and total silence. And at first I was shocked to find myself inside a silent mind, but then I was immediately captivated by the magnificence of the energy around me. And because I could no longer identify the boundaries of my body, I felt enormous and expansive. I felt at one with all the energy that was, and it was beautiful there. Then all of a sudden, my left hemisphere comes back online and says to me, hey, we got a problem, we got to get some help. So it's like, okay, I've got a problem. But then I immediately drifted back out into the consciousness, and I affectionately referred to this space as La La Land. But it was beautiful there. Imagine what it would be like to be totally disconnected from your brain chatter that connects you to the external world. So I'm here in this space, and any stress related to my job, it was gone. Again, stress, body consciousness. And I felt lighter in my body. And I imagine all of the relationships in the external world and the many stresses related to any of those, they were gone. I felt a sense of peacefulness. And imagine what it would be like to lose 37 years of emotional baggage. I felt euphoria. Euphoria was beautiful. And then my left hemisphere comes back online and it says, hey, you've got to pay attention, you've got to get help. And I'm thinking, I've got to get help, I've got to focus. So I got to get help, I got to call work. I couldn't remember the number at work, so I remembered in my office I had a business card with my number on it. So I go to my business room, I pull out a 3-inch stack of business cards. And I'm looking at the card on top, and even though I could see clearly in my mind's eye what my business card looked like, I couldn't tell if this was my card or not, because all I could see was pixels. And the pixels of the words blended with the pixels of the background and the pixels of the symbols, and I just couldn't tell. And I would wait for what I call a wave of clarity, and in that moment, I would be able to reattach to normal reality, and I could tell, that's not my card, that's not my card, that's not my card. It took me 45 minutes to get 1 inch inside of that stack of cards. In the meantime, for 45 minutes, the hemorrhage is getting bigger in my left hemisphere. I do not understand numbers, I do not understand the telephone, but it's the only plan I have. So I take the phone pad and I put it right there, right here. I take the business card and I put it right here, and I'm matching the shape of the squiggles on the card to the shape of the squiggles on the phone pad. Eventually the whole number gets dialed and I'm listening to the phone. And my colleague picks up the phone and he says to me, whoa, 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 whoa. And I think to myself, oh my gosh, he sounds like a golden retriever. And so I say to him, clear in my mind, I say to him, this is Jim.